The ones no one wanted. Asterisk, in the cold silence of deep space, a forgotten planet drifted near a dying sun. It had no name, no cities, no life. Except for the two girls. They were not human. Not even close. Zaire, the older one, stood tall with sharp eyes and red skin marked by glowing scars. Her hair looked like dark metal wires, and her fists were always ready. She was fire, wild, angry, and full of rage. Lina, the younger one, sat quietly beside her. Pale blue skin, silver hair like soft clouds, and soft glowing eyes that never met anyone's gaze. She was gentle, silent, and afraid of everything. They were sisters, but not by blood. They were survivors of the same nightmare. Weeks ago, they had stood in a glass cage inside the Galactic Trade Hub, a huge auction house where beings from across the galaxy bought and sold weapons, tech, and sometimes people. Zaire had punched the glass wall so hard it cracked. Lina had cried without a sound. One by one, buyers looked at them. Too violent, said a warlord, pointing at Zaire. Too weak, said a general, waving at Lina. Together? Useless, said a rich merchant. So no one bought them. Not even for parts. So they were discarded, dropped onto this empty planet. No food, no tools, no hope. The galaxy had moved on. But far, far away, a signal blinked. It was old, broken, half-deleted. Dotted. Syed, unclaimed assets. Biohazard Class C status, alive. A human ship caught the signal. A small, rusty freighter called the Stray Dog. Inside it, one man sat, Jace Carter. He was no hero, no soldier, just a scavenger with an eye for strange things. He read the signal again and frowned. Biohazard. Huh, he muttered. Sounds valuable, or deadly. He tapped a few buttons. A map appeared. The location was in the middle of nowhere. Even better. Let's go see what the galaxy forgot, he said. His ship landed with a loud thud, sending dust into the air. The planet looked dead, rocks, dry trees, and a red sun that barely warmed. The ground. JACE wore a light exosuit and carried an old blaster. He followed the tracker, which led him to an old, broken ship. The girls had been dropped there. The words "property of GLE" were still painted on the side. The door was open. Inside, he found the cell. Empty. But the floor was warm. Fresh footprints led out, 2 sets. One deep and wide, the other small and light. They're alive, Jace whispered, surprised. He followed the trail into a dry forest. Strange, spiky plants grew all around. Something watched him from the shadows. Then he heard it, a growl. Too late. A figure dropped from a tree and slammed into him like a cannonball. He fell hard, his blaster flying away. Zaire stood over him, eyes burning with hate. She pressed a stone blade against his neck. Who sent you? She growled. Her voice was rough, her hands shaking. Before he could answer, Lina ran out from behind the trees. No, she shouted. Not him. He's not one of them. Zaire hesitated, then slowly pulled the blade away. Jace gasped and sat up, coughing. Nice to meet you too, he said, half laughing. The girls looked at him. He looked at them. Name's Jace, he said. I followed your signal. Zaire crossed her arms. We don't need help. You sure? He asked. You look like you could use a sandwich and a flamethrower. Lina giggled. Just a little. Jace noticed her. And you? I'm Lina. She's not a fighter, Zaire said quickly. She shouldn't be here. I think you both shouldn't be here, Jace replied. But since you are, maybe. I can help. Zaire stepped closer. Why? No one wanted us. Not even for free. Jace looked at both of them. One fierce, one fragile. Both abandoned, I don't care what they think, he said. I see something else. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the forest. The ground shook. Something big was coming. Chase grabbed his blaster. You guys get many visitors? Zaire's eyes widened. That's not from this planet. They ran. Back at his ship. Chase checked the signal again. It was different now. New text blinked on the screen. Warning. Biological anomalies active. Asset retrieval in progress. He frowned. Looks like someone does want you now. The camera zooms in on the screen as static. Crackles. The words flash again. Retrieval in progress. Retrieval in progress. First contact. Last warning. The night on the planet was not quiet. Wind screamed through the broken trees like it was warning the stars. The red moon hung low in the sky, glowing like a dying ember. Something moved in the jungle, something that did not belong. Jace sat near a small fire, checking the energy core on his blaster. Across from him, the two alien girls watched him with cold eyes. Zaire hadn't relaxed once. She stood near a rock, gripping her blade so tightly her knuckles turned black. Lena sat close to the fire, staring into the flames. The light danced in her silver eyes. Jace finally spoke. So, what are you two exactly? Warriors? Royalty? Or just two kids who pissed off the wrong empire? Zaire didn't answer. Lena did. We were part of something, she said quietly. A test. A trial. But we failed. Jace raised an eyebrow. Failed what? Control, Zaire snapped. They tested us to see if we could be weapons. Lena was too kind. I was too much. He looked between them. One too soft. One too sharp. The galaxy's dumbest knife. Zaire almost smiled. Almost. Suddenly, the wind stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Like the planet itself held its breath. Jace stood up fast, scanning the trees. That's not normal. Zaire dropped into a crouch. Her ears twitched. Lena froze. It's here. A deep growl echoed across the jungle. Low, long, and wrong. It wasn't from an animal. It sounded like something that had been built to hunt. Something old. And angry. Branches cracked in the distance. Something huge moved between. The shadows. Then came the screams, but they weren't from animals. They were metallic, like tortured machines, shrieking. Glitcing. The jungle lit up with blue lights, artificial. Eyes, scanning. Run, Zaire shouted. They bolted through the trees. Chase trying to keep up. Behind them, the thing crashed forward like a bulldozer. Zaire stopped suddenly. A drone beast stepped into view, half metal, half flesh, covered in wires and armor. Its face looked like a wolf wearing a helmet, but its eyes were camera lenses. Its claws dripped with black ooze that sizzled the ground. Not natural, not local, not friendly. Jace aimed his blaster. The thing leapt. Zaire tackled it midair, screaming a war cry that cracked nearby rocks. Her blade dug into its side. Sparks flew, but it didn't fall. It threw her off like she was nothing. Zaire! Lena screamed, eyes glowing suddenly. No, not glowing. Pulsing. The beast stopped, like it felt something. It turned toward Lina. She held out her hands, trembling but determined. Stop, she whispered. The beast froze. Literally. Steam came out of its mouth. Its lenses cracked. Then it exploded. Jace hit the ground as fire shot through the air. Bits of burning metal flew everywhere. Silence. Only Lena was standing now, her hands still glowing. Zaire groaned and stood up, wiping blood off her chin. What did you do? Lena looked down at her hands, shaking. I don't know. Back at the crash site, they found what was left of the drone beast. Jace kicked a piece of its arm over, There was a logo on the inside. GLE, Project Echo X. Warning. Subject tracking active. Zaire's voice was low. They didn't leave us here to forget us. They left you here, Jace muttered, so they could see what you'd become. Inside Jace's ship, he hacked into the drone's memory chip. A video file loaded. Grainy, but clear enough. An alien officer stood in a lab, speaking to the camera. Subject Z-28 and L-29 were unstable. Z-28 exhibits extreme aggression with atmospheric influence. L-29 shows unexplained empathy-based reaction to neural frequencies. Together, unpredictable. Asset disposal requested. Remote monitoring activated. Zaire clenched her fists. We were just numbers to them. No, Jace said. You were experiments. Lena touched the screen. They're still watching us? Not anymore, Jace smirked. I fried the tracker. Suddenly, alert. A red light flashed. New signal detected. Shuttle inbound ETA. 3 hours. They're coming, Jace said. Zaire smiled. Good. Final scene. Far above the planet, a sleek black ship floats in orbit. Inside, a figure stands in a dark room, watching the same video. A soldier enters. Sir, the subjects have survived. We're sending in retrieval. Lee. Figure turns, face hidden, voice cold. No, we don't retrieve them. We test them. Send in the next phase. They were never alone. The forest had changed. After the drone beast exploded, the trees stopped moving. The wind didn't return, and the jungle was quiet. Too quiet. Zaire hated quiet. She walked ahead with her blade drawn, her eyes scanning everything. The shadows. The dirt. Even the sky. Lena followed behind, closer to Jace. She kept looking over her shoulder. Jace whispered, either the wildlife's terrified, or we're inside someone else's hunting ground. Zaire stopped. No, we're inside their lab. Later, they reached a cliff. Below it was a crashed ship, buried halfway into the ground, but not old and rusted like Zaire and Lena's dropship. This one was newer, sleek, human, military transport, Jace muttered. One of ours. He pointed to the logo on the side. X-Unit Recon, property of GLE Bio Division. Zaire spat on the ground. Your people love cages. They moved inside. Lights flickered. Blood on the walls. Scorch marks. Claw marks, but no bodies. Too clean. Lena walked to a sealed door. Her hand touched it, and it opened without any controls. Jace frowned. How she's been different, Zaire said. Since the night. Asterisk inside the room. Cryopods. 7 of them. All empty. Except for one. A young alien boy floated inside. Skin pale green, eyes closed, connected to wires. Lena pressed her hand to the glass. He's alive. Suddenly, bang! A pod behind them slammed open. A figure dropped out. It looked like a child, but wrong. Eyes black. Mouth stitched shut. Metal claws instead of hands. It screeched and launched at Jace. Zaire moved faster. Slash. One clean cut. The creature fell, not dead, but twitching. Test subject, Jace said. Like you too. No, Zaire growled. That thing wasn't a test. It was a warning. Lena turned back to the boy. We can't leave him. Jace hesitated. We don't know what he is. We didn't know what we were either. Lena said softly. They opened the pod. That night, they set up camp inside the wreckage. Safer than the jungle for now. The boy's name was Taro. He barely spoke. Just stared at Lena like she was the only light in a dark room. Zaire didn't trust. Him. He smells like the labs. Lena sat beside the boy. He's scared. He's a weapon. So are we. Jace cleaned his gear, silent, thinking. Then, static crackled in his earpiece. He hadn't worn it since landing. Voice came through. Garbled. Inhuman. Phase 2 activated. Target signal locked. Project Warden awake. Project. What? Now? Jace said aloud. Zyre spun. What did you say? I didn't. They did. Suddenly, the boy, Tiro, began convulsing. Lena screamed. He's in pain. The ground shook. Tiro's body glowed faint green, same as the trees. Outside, plants began to move. Not from wind, they were responding. Zyre ran to the door. Vines blocked it, growing fast. Shrap. She shouted. JAC pulled out his scanner. The planet's got a neural network like roots under the soil. It's alive. No, Lena whispered. He's connected to it. The base started shifting, literally. Walls cracked. The floor lifted. They weren't inside a ship anymore. They were inside a buried lab disguised as a crash. Tiro's eyes snapped open. For a moment, he wasn't a scared boy. He was something ancient. His voice was layered, like many voices speaking. At once, the Warden has watched. The Warden remembers. The Warden judges. Jace stepped back. That's not a kid. The lights turned red. A hologram blinked on. Warning. Containment breach. Protocol. Purge. Zyre cursed. That means boom. A blast rocked the lab. Explosives had been planted inside the walls. Automatic. Defense if a subject escaped. The whole place began to collapse. Lena grabbed Tiro's hand. We're not leaving him, Zyre snarled. Then we fight the walls. Jace shouted, everyone. Move. They ran as fire chased them down metal corridors, ceiling collapsing behind. Outside, the jungle caught fire. Smoke and vines twisted like snakes. Tiro raised his hands. The forest parted. A path opened through the chaos. They escaped, but not the same as they stood outside, catching breath, watching the ground burn. Jace said quietly, that wasn't just a prison. That was a test chamber. For something big, maybe for war. Zyre looked at Lena and Tiro. We're not the only ones they made. Jace nodded. And not the only ones they lost. Above them, a shadow passed. A ship. No engine sound. Just silence. Black, shaped like a blade. It didn't land. It watched. Then vanished. Final shot. Back in orbit. A massive space station floats in the dark. Inside, a room full of screens. On one of them, Zyre, Lena, Jace and Tiro are seen escaping. A voice speaks. Calm, cold, female. Subjects evolving faster than expected. Prepare to activate protocol blackout. No witnesses. No survivors. Asterisk who left the trap. Asterisk the jungle burned behind them. Black smoke curled into the sky like a message. But there was no one left to answer. At least, that's what Jace hoped. Had escaped the lab. Barely. Zyre limped. Lena was pale. Tiro hadn't spoken since the forest bent to his will. His eyes were open, but he was somewhere else, like a radio tuned to a signal no one else could hear. Where do we go now? Lena asked softly. Zyre wiped blood off her face. Anywhere away from this cursed planet. Tiro blinked. There is nowhere safe, he said. His voice wasn't just his. They camped in an old ravine, beneath twisted trees that hadn't burned. For once, the night was still. Quiet, too quiet. Jace stared at the stars, chewing on a protein bar that tasted like glue and sadness. He checked his scanner again. No signals. No heat signatures, except one. Weak, faint. Buried. Deep underground. He frowned. Guys, he said, I think we've got a bunker. Zyre groaned. More labs? No, this one's older. Hidden. Pre-GL tech. Human architecture. Zaire squinted. And you? Want to go in? I want to know who set this whole nightmare up, he said. You don't leave this kind of trap without a tripwire. Someone's watching. I want to meet them. They reached the site by morning. A large metal door, covered in vines and dust. Half buried in the rocks. No keypad. Just an old retinal scanner. Jace laughed dryly. Unless anyone's got the eyes of a 200-year-old general in their pocket, we're not getting in. Lena stepped forward. Let me try. She touched the scanner. Blinked green. Door unlocked. Everyone froze. Okay then, Jace whispered. That's not creepy at all. Inside the bunker, the air was cold, dry, sterile. It wasn't abandoned. It was waiting. Rows of monitors, dusty but active, maps, records, biological scans. And in the center, a chair. A body slumped in it. Skeleton, still wearing a badge. Jace. Read it aloud. Dr. Tegan Voss, Project Shepherd. He picked up an old data pad next to the body. The screen flickered on. A video log played. The dead doctor looked straight into the camera. Eyes sunken. Voice shaking. If you're watching this, then the experiment escaped. Not just the girls. Not just Taro. The Warden Protocol has activated. I warned them. You can't control something that's older than stars. That planet, that jungle, it's not just alive. It learns. It remembers every subject, every scream, every death. The alien girls, they weren't the first. They won't be the last. But they might be the only ones strong enough to stop what's coming. They built the Warden to protect the project. Now it protects itself. If you're smart, run. The screen cut out. Silence filled the bunker. Then, Skryach, metal on metal. Coming from the hallway, they turned slowly. A security door halfway open. Movement inside. Zaire raised her blade. Show yourself. A figure limped out. Not a machine. Not a drone. Not quite alive. It was a clone of Zaire. Same face. Same body. But eyes empty. Hollow. It spoke in a voice like broken glass. Target Z28. Confirmed. Initiating reabsorption protocol. Jace blinked. What now? More doors opened. Clones. 5. No, 7. One of Lena. One of Taro. One of Jace. Zaire muttered, okay, that's a new level of messed up. They ran. Blasters fired. Clones moved fast, like puppets with no strings. Dead eyes. Perfect aim. Lina turned mid-run. I'm tired of running. Her eyes glowed. She screamed, not a scream of fear. Command. Stop. The clones halted mid-motion. Frozen. For a second. Zaire dashed forward. Blade flashing, sparks flying. 1 down. 2, 3. Gone. But more came. Taro stepped forward now. Eyes wide. Hands glowing green. The floor cracked. Roots exploded from the walls. They weren't fighting alone. The planet had chosen sides. They escaped the bunker as it collapsed behind them, swallowed by roots and stone. Outside, the wind had returned. But it whispered this time, like it knew their names. Jace turned to Lena. What was that power? She looked at her hands. I don't know, but it's waking up. Zaire clenched her fists. They made us to be weapons. They didn't expect us to become something more. Jace looked at the sky. That black ship was back. Closer. Watching. Final. Scene. Inside the orbiting command station, a man steps into a room full of holograms. Military medals on his chest. Cold steel eyes. He looks at a screen showing Lena, Zaire, Jace, and Taro walking away from the ruins. An officer asks, Sir, they've destroyed the last Phase 1 bunker. The man sips coffee, like he's watching Saturday cartoons. Good. Now they're ready. Activate Phase 2. Release the other subjects. The worth they couldn't see. They walked away from the fire like ghosts. Behind them, the lab was gone, crushed by roots, buried in stone, erased by the planet itself. But ahead, the real war was just beginning. Zaire sat near a pool of water, sharpening her blade. She stared at her reflection, at the glowing scars running across her face like lightning frozen in skin. They called me unstable, she muttered. JACE sat on a fallen tree, tinkering with an old datapad. Yeah, well, now you're just unstably awesome. Zaire rolled her eyes, but almost smiled. Lena stood near the edge of the jungle, eyes half closed, listening. To the wind, to the roots, to the planet. Since the last battle, she had changed. She no longer feared her powers. Now she feared what would happen if she used them fully. Taro sat beside her, holding a stone like it was alive. He didn't speak. He barely blinked. He was becoming something else. Something ancient. JACE found a signal. A real one. From space. It was an emergency. Broadcast, but twisted. Broken. Then it clicked. It wasn't a call for help. It was a warning. This unit has failed containment. Subjects have adapted. Repeat. Subjects have adapted. Do not engage without authorization. Project Warden. Phase 2 in motion. Zaire clenched her jaw. So now they're scared of us. No. Jace replied. They're about to send something worse. Asterisk military officers debating inside a white room. Zaire is too aggressive. She can't be controlled. Lena shows signs of sentient empathy interfacing, completely unpredictable. Taro has bonded with the root core. He's a liability. Then, a cold voice. A general. Good. Let them evolve. We need results, not pets. Back to the present. The group heads toward the mountain, the only place the signal couldn't reach. The sky changes color. Not from sunset, but from something. Falling from orbit. A ship. Small. Fast. Black as oil. Zaire watches it land ahead. Her eyes narrow. I want to break something, she says. JEC replies. Great, because someone just delivered your next target. They reach the landing site. A man steps out. Human. Clean uniform. White gloves. A clipboard like he's here to do taxes, not commit war crimes. He doesn't raise a weapon. He smiles. Subjects Z28, L29 Taro. I'm here to talk. Zaire raises her blade. You've got 5 seconds. I wouldn't. The ship's wired. To your neural frequencies. Any sudden aggression and boom, no survivors. Chase mutters. I hate smug science people. The man continues. You've exceeded expectations. Truly. And the board has noticed. We'd like to offer you a deal. Lena steps forward. A deal? After everything you did? Yes, the man says casually. Power, purpose, position. You've proven your worth. Now you can serve the system. Zaire throws. Her blade. It slices the man's cheek. He doesn't flinch. Blood drips. A smile spreads. Very well, he says. We tried kindness. Now we'll use the copies. Dozens of pods fall from the ship. Each opens. Clones. Perfect. Replicas. Zaire, Lena, Taro, even Jace. But something's different. These versions are cold, upgraded, wired into each other. They move in perfect sync. A hive. Jace stares at his own clone. Wow, I look smug as hell. Zaire growls. This time, no running. The fight begins. Zaire takes on her own clone, strength for strength, rage for rage, but the clone doesn't bleed. It doesn't feel. It calculates. Every move Zaire makes, the clone predicts. Lena fights her double too, but the clone has no emotion, no empathy. Just precision. Lena screams. Her power ripples. A sound wave blasts outward. Half the clones stumble. A few collapse. She looks at her hands. They're not glowing anymore. They're burning white. Taro is quiet. Then suddenly, he sinks into the ground. Gone. The real Taro disappears. The clone version smiles, assuming he's dead, and the earth explodes. Taro returns, riding a wave of vines and roots that crush the clones from below. He speaks one word: leave. But the clones don't. They can't. They were never built to run. Jace faces his own clone. It raises a gun. Jace shoots first. Boom. Double quotes. No one copies my sarcasm, he says. Final moments. Only one clone remains. Lena's. It crawls toward her. Half destroyed. Sparks flying from its eyes. It speaks with a glitching voice. You were not meant to survive. You were supposed to obey. Lena kneels down, looks it in the eye. You are built to copy. I was born to change. She touches its forehead. It shuts down. Permanently. The ship behind them explodes. No. One ordered it. It simply self-destructed. Whoever was watching decided the test was over. Back in orbit, on a hidden GLE warship, the general watches them through a cracked screen. A voice behind him says, "Sir, we've lost the clones. The planet's adapting, and the subjects are evolving beyond projected thresholds." The general doesn't panic. He smiles. Excellent. Initiate Phase 3. The jungle slept. But in orbit, the war had already begun. Inside a massive black GLE warship, alarms pulsed like a heartbeat. Clones gone. Lab destroyed. Subjects evolved. A general stood watching the planet through reinforced glass. He didn't blink. Behind him, a woman in a sleek uniform approached. "Sir, Project Warden has failed. The root core is bonded with Subject Tiro. Lena's power has accelerated. Zaire has become uncontrollable. And the human? She asked. He smirked. Jace Carter. Is coming home." Planet side, Jungle Ridge. The team stood in silence. Zaire sharpened her blade on a stone, still covered in ash from the last fight. Lena sat beside a pool of glowing water, eyes glowing softly. Her connection to the planet was now constant. Taro was underground again, only his voice echoing through the trees. And Jace? He stared at the stars. Then the signal came. A voice, familiar. "Jace, it's me, Commander Vale. You're not prisoners. You're assets. Come in, alone. You walk away. We walk away." Zaire heard it. "Friend of yours?" Jace didn't answer. Flashback. 7 years ago, a younger Jace walks through a GLE facility. Labs, cages, screams. He worked there. He approved Project Shepard. He signed off on Z-28 and L-29 being moved to observation. He was one of them. Back in the present, Jace loaded his blaster. "I'm going." Lena stood. "Alone?" Zaire stepped forward. "Stupid. They won't talk with you there," Jace said. "They see you as weapons. I used to be one of them. Let me try." Tiro's voice whispered from beneath the roots. "Some doors should never open again." GLE outpost. Hidden base. Jace entered the steel hallway. Alone. No weapons. The door closed behind him. Commander Vale stood in the center, perfectly polished, as if war was a business meeting. "You brought the wild ones far, Jace. But it's time to put them down." Jace didn't blink. "They're not animals. They're not people either." Vale stepped forward. "You want to save them? Help us control them. Or walk out now, alone, no blood, full pardon. We even give you your ship back." Jace laughed. I already have a crew. Vale's eyes narrowed. And you'll die with them. He raised his hand. The walls opened. From the shadows stepped a new subject. Codename Mirror. Mirror, the ultimate clone. She was made from all three. Zyre's strength, Lena's empathy, Taro's link to the root core, but twisted, controlled. Enhanced. Her voice sounded like all of them speaking at once. You abandoned us. Jace's face dropped. Oh no, Mirror charged. Meanwhile, Jungle-Lena's heart stopped. She felt Jace's fear. Zyre grunted. Told you. Stupid. Lena stood. Her hair floated. Her eyes burned white. He's not dying alone. Tiro rose from the dirt, his skin glowing with green light. Then neither are we, Zyre smiled. Finally. Battle begins. Inside the base. Mirror fought like lightning. She moved before you thought. She read minds. She remembered pain. She pinned Jace. You left me in the tank. You knew. I didn't know what they made you into. They made me perfect. Zyre blasted through the wall. Roaring like a beast. She tackled Mirror mid-swing. Clash of Titans. Fist, blade, power. Then came Lena. Her scream shattered lights. Taro arrived, splitting the floor open, roots flying. But Mirror was too fast. She copied their every move. She was their moves. Emotional peak. Mirror pinned Lena. You could have saved me. You were like me. Lena touched her hand. No, you were like us. You still can be. For a second, Mirror hesitated. Jace raised. A gun. We don't have to end this. Like Mirror turned. Zyre didn't hesitate. Blade. Through. Heart. Mirror looked surprised. Then smiled. Freedom. She collapsed. The aftermath. Veil was gone. Escaped. The base was theirs. Files recovered. Weapons. Stolen. Evidence of every lie. Every trap. Every child they ruined. Zyre walked beside Lena. Still think you're too gentle? Lena smiled softly. Still think you're too wild? Taro looked at them both. The roots whisper a new name. The world will not call. You failed anymore. No one wanted them, so they made their own place. The jungle was quiet again, but not from fear. This time, the planet was listening. Zyre stood on a cliff, watching the stars shift above. The scars on her arms no longer burned. They glowed. Below. Lena walked among the roots, barefoot, her hair flowing like water, leaving glowing footprints behind. Taro sat still in the center of an old crater, his skin now part bark, part energy. He whispered to the ground. The ground whispered back. And Jace? He stared at a hologram of the galaxy. So many systems, he muttered, and not one safe for us. He shut it off. So we build one. 1 week later, the message A signal went out, not encrypted, not hidden. BROADC, ISTED. To every system, every race, every station. We were called monsters, mistakes, experiments. We are Zyre, Lena, Taro, Jace. We survived everything you threw at us. And now we're offering something you never did. A home for those like us. The galaxy didn't want us? Fine, we'll make our own. Coordinates. Attached. No threats. No warning. Just a promise. And a dare. 2 days later. First visitors, they came in damaged ships. Old fighters. Broken freighters. Inside were kids with metal arms. Escaped clones. AI hybrids. Discarded. Species. Half machine. Half everything. Whole-hearted. They came with fear in their eyes. And found firelight. Zyre trained them. Lena healed them. Taro protected them. Jace taught them how to shoot stuff without blowing off their fingers. A village became a city. A city became a signal. A movement. Far. Across the stars, GLE High, Commander Vale slammed a datapad down. They've declared themselves a sovereign zone. The press is calling. Them heroes. Even corporate sponsors are backing off. Another officer frowned. We tried war. We tried clones. We tried negotiation. Vale growled. Then we try something worse. He looked into the camera. We send the truth. Asterisk next day. Back on the Jungle World A-Pod, crash lands outside the village. Inside, a boy, bleeding, barely alive, with one message. They're coming. The ones before you, Phase 0, the originals. Jace checked the boy's data implant. It pulsed one word. Purge. Asterisk nightfall, the storm begins. Lightning tore across. The sky dot from orbit. 3 massive warships decloaked. Ancient GLE biocruisers, now automated. No crew. Just weapons. Inside. The Phase 0 subjects. Built before Zyre. Before Lena. Before Tero. Locked away for being too unstable. Now. Released. And angry. They're not just here to fight, Jace realized. They're here to erase us. It will call you free. Orbit Vale sits at a table across from him. A masked figure, unidentified. Silent. Vale speaks. We lost Mirror. Carter's turned. Subjects escaped. And they're getting stronger. So we don't hunt them anymore. We invite them. The figure nods. Let them believe they've won. Then give them a choice. Choose your weapon. Loyalty or freedom. Asterisk. The Battle of the Brokenzire led the charge. Fierce, on fire. Her blade danced in the rain, slicing through biodrones like wind through flame. Lena walked into battle like a goddess of light, not to kill, but to protect. Her scream shattered ships. Her touch turned enemies to allies. RO merged with the planet itself, his arms stretching into vines, his voice coming from every tree. He summoned the storm. J, a sea. He took a sniper rifle, climbed the highest tree, and whispered, "All right. Science rejects. Say cheese." Boomed out the twist in the heart of the battlefield. Lena faced the final Phase 0 subject, a being made of shifting light and shadow. It had no face, no voice, just one goal: silence all error. You should not exist, it said. You are glitch. You are accident. Lena stood tall. No, I'm choice. She stepped forward. And hugged it. The light GLITCHED. Flickered. Stop dots. The strongest weapon isn't fire. It's mercy. Aftermath. 1 month later, the jungle world had changed. Skyport now glowed in orbit, built by hybrids, defended by Zyre's elite, powered by Tero's roots. They didn't rule it like kings, guarded it like family. Visitors still came, the lost, the unwanted, the ones the galaxy cast out, and every time, Lena was the first to greet them, with a smile, with these words, "Welcome home." Jace sat in a chair outside the village wall, drink in hand, watching stars shift. Zyre walked over, sat beside him. "You think they'll stop coming for us?" she asked. He smirked. "They should." Zyre nodded. "But if they do?" He raised his glass. "Let them come. They'll find out the hard way. No one wanted you, but I saw your worth." Zyre finally smiled. For real.